Good morning. I'm Caitlin with Wiregrass Daily News, and I'm here with Miss Dorinda McGowan, who is running for City Commissioner District 2. Good morning.
Good morning, Caitlin, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming in.
hmm
So let's get started with our questions.
Okay.
Question one is: what do you see as the primary responsibilities of a commissioner?
As a commissioner, we are to oversee any activities or operations throughout our district, making sure that we intertwine the community with the government, local government. We are also required to passing of the local laws, resolving any issues that the constituents have or concerns that they have, and making sure that we follow up on that, as well as overseeing the local budget. The city budget. I'm sorry, overseeing the city budget and creating budgets as well, and that include taxes.
How do you plan to balance your role as a commissioner with other elected officials and departments?
Well, actually, it's just basically being transparent, making sure that you clearly communicate with your peers, making sure that you don't overstep your boundaries, and collaborating together to so that we can come to a common goal.
What specific skills or experiences do you bring to the table that will make you an effective commissioner?
Well, I'm pretty well rounded. I am a graduate from University of Washington. I am experienced in sales as well as experience as a tax resolution specialist. So I'm pretty good with contracts and numbers. Numbers is one of my things that listening skills. In order for me to be an effective salesperson for over the last 20 years, I've had to listen to my clients to make sure that they're getting the right deal as opposed to what I'm trying to sell them at that time. And you have to have compassion. I'm very compassionate, so I'm going to. I can feel pretty much what my clients or my customers have are the constituents of the district. So those things are very vital. I mean, you have to be pretty rounded to handle District 2 because District 2 is very vulnerable. It's a different animal as opposed to District 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, yes.
How do you plan to involve the community in decision making and ensure that their voices are heard?
I definitely want to involve the community at all times, and that's one of part of my slogan as running for commissioner because um, their voices have to be heard in order for us that we have to get down to the root of what's going on within the community. Not just the elderly people. I hear candidates say, "Well, we want to involve the elderly or have town hall meetings for the older people, but we also need to have town hall meetings for the youth. I am very good at dealing with the youth, and I want to make sure that their voices is heard as well. Since I've been on the ground, that's one of the things that I make sure that I'm talking to the youth, want to know what their issues or concerns. And not all of the youth are bad, believe it or not. And we have our issues and things that's going on within our community, but they want better for themselves and their children as well.
How do you plan to support local economic development and attract new businesses to your district?
Well, first of all, we need to begin to heal the district. We need to clean the district up. There's things that need to be taken care of, like our roads. Our roads are horrible. You can't drive, I would say, 2 miles down the road without going into a pothole. And you have to go, I know my car, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go around this. It not only needs to be repaired, they need to be fixed. And so we need to make it attractive so that the new businesses want to come in. And we also need to come together as a community and, with the new businesses and the ones that are the older businesses that are already established, work together, show them the resources that they may need in order um, to become effective. And as well as we need to get all the funding that we can to make sure that we help the new businesses be established in our community.
What steps will you take to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent efficiently and responsibly?
Well, as a tax specialist, and I was trained as a tax specialist for over 8 years working with Washington Tax Services. I'm very familiar when it comes to the taxes. So, I mean, that's my lingo there. And so basically, I will oversee to make sure that those taxes are being transferred within over over spread out over all the districts, making sure that we are I mean, we're getting our fair share and what we need to do, and making sure that our taxes that are being paid are distributed in a fair manner.
What are your priorities for improving infrastructure within your district?
We want to make sure that we look into our homes that we can revitalize, we can restore. Within our community, we have so many abandoned homes, and those homes, some of them can be restored for the homeless, for people that low income, that type of deal. We definitely need to work with our utility um, company, because especially during the holidays, utilities are raised high, and some people don't even use their you know, decorations and that type of deal during the holidays, and they still have a high bill.
Right.
So we want to look further into that and see exactly what we need to compensate them, and help them as much as we can. And as far as transportation is concerned, we do have the transit right now, but we need more public transportation, because in order for the youth to get different jobs, or the elderly need to get back and forth to work. I mean, to work to the doctors, or need to get to their medication and get their essentials. We need to make sure we have good transportation system. I would love to see a bus line again. Back in the '60s, we used to have that, where you can just go catch the bus and go downtown and that type of deal. So we need to implement that. We need funding for that. We definitely need that within our community so that we can grow.
How do you plan to ensure that public services are accessible, efficient, and adequately funded?
Well, again, checks and balances. We need to get together as commissioners and make sure that it's it's fair across the board, and make sure that we are getting the funding that we need in order to have everything accessible to us as well in District 2.
What is your plan to improve public safety in the district while ensuring equal treatment of all residents?
Well, that's a big one, and we definitely, I mean, that is one of my major goals, is to make sure that we're safe. We have elderly people that are living behind bars, and believe it or not, when I say bars, they're windows. I mean, the windows are have bars on them, and they're afraid to come out, at night and that type of deal. And I'm living I'm living in District 2. So I hear the guns, the fires, and the police, and that type of deal. So we need to really look at our law enforcement, making sure that they're properly trained to come into our district, to make sure that they are treating our constituents fair, because our law enforcement, we need them and they need us. But at the same time, not just training, psychological training, because dealing with the people that's in District 2. I mean, they're they're no different than anyone else. You know what I mean? So we need to take care. These are our children. These are our grandkids. It's very important that we work together, collaborate together, the police and the residents, to make sure that they're treated fairly, and they're just not having bracelets thrown on them and thrown away and that type of deal. So I'm very, very, that's a stickler for me when it comes to safety.
How do you plan to collaborate with law enforcement and community organizations to address crime and community safety?
Well, collaborating with them it's a trust factor. We need to begin to trust each other. In order to trust each other, we have to get down to the root of what's going on within the community, and they need to understand exactly how to deal with us, as well as we need to understand how to deal with them. And making sure that when we having our town hall meetings, and I'm talking to the youth, and I'm talking to the police as well, that we're on the same page, and they feel, so they can not be fear of the police, because we need that in our community, but we also need to have fair treatment in the community, and making sure that our children are taken care of as well.
What steps will you take to address climate change, manage waste, and protect natural resources in your district?
Well, we need to make sure, just like taking care of waste. We're not just, throwing things around the community. Um, and people are actually getting involved in cleanup, making sure that waste management is doing their job properly. Because sometimes we on the streets, you'll see a lot of trash and different things like that. And I've had constituents tell me that they haven't been picked up in about a week or two or whatever. So we as commissioners, we need to get engaged and figure out how to solve these problems.
How will you work to ensure that there are adequate resources and programs for the youth in your community?
Well, we want to, first of all, have town hall meetings so we can find out exactly what is needed, as well as going back to my peers with the commissioners, and we sit down and we strategize as to how we're going to make these things happen because the youth is our future. We need to make sure that they have what they need as far as education and training. I would love to see an education and training facility come in, a newer one. We have some now that are in place and doing a pretty good job, but we need that within our community. My grandchildren, for instance, they have to be, I wouldn't say shipped off, but we have to travel over on the other side of the districts in order for them to get after school care and that type of deal. We need more funding for our children as well as um, feeding programs. That's a big one. We need feeding programs before and after school. My concern is about that. And just making sure that we are working toward a safer environment for them. So that's really important. So I have a big investment with the community with my grandkids as well.
What are your plans for supporting education in the district, especially for underfunded schools?
Well, for underfunded schools, we definitely need to come together again. Like I said, that's just collaborating together with my peers, with the commissioners, and making sure that the money is spread it equally when we do have funding, because those underprivileged kids, some of them are just very intelligent. We need to make sure that the monies is going in the proper districts, all six of them equally, so that they can have a chance at a better future and growth. So we need to do that and make sure that that's happening within our community as well.
How will you ensure that healthcare and social services are accessible to all residents?
To make sure that it's accessible, I would like to see that we bring in a clinic within our district so it won't be too far for them to travel, as well as getting more transportation. Because one thing with the transit, you have to call in at a certain time beforehand before you can travel to your destination is what you need to go and get health care. We need more transportation. We need funding for that and making sure that they're getting to where they need to go, for just everyday necessities. And as well as making sure that they are getting, um, they're accessible to treatment.
What initiatives will you support to address mental health and addiction issues in your district?
Mental health, that is definitely a priority that I would like to look into. Back in 2005, my son was in a tragic brain injury incident on a road rage, and although God has blessed him and he's 90 some percent back, you can look at him and tell that you can look at him and may not understand that he has those issues. And so we need training from our first responders to understand what's going on, how to handle those situations. Because he's came across time, there's been times when he had to, things had problems with the police because they didn't understand his issue. Now, as far as um, as far as helping the mental illness and substance abuse, Governor Ivy, she actually gave us money. I know for sure for not just our district, but for Dothan in general. To expand on helping with the mental health as well as disabled and substance abuse. We need to make sure that our first responders are trained not just to take them to jail and then there, because I had a family that they having the same problem, is that the police officers didn't know that they had a mental problem. So they take them to jail and they go to jail for a while and they come back out and then they're not rehabilitated. So the way it's supposed to work is that if you see someone, that's going through those type of issues, and then you evaluate them, then you take them to Spectre Care where they need to go, and then give them a case manager. So I would like to make sure that they are protected and taken care of.
How do you plan to address homelessness in the district, and what role will local government play in providing solutions?
Addressing homelessness, again, we'll go back to making sure that those homes that we have already are restored, revitalized. We have some very good organizations and churches now that actually are contributing to help with the homelessness. Apostle Mitchell over the International Ministry Services, he has a beautiful facility. I mean, that he is really, really contributing to the community, and he's doing this on his own. So we need to contribute to those type of organizations. We have Mama Tina's soup kitchen, which she feeds a lot of homelessness people. So, and as well as Katie's garden.
Yeah.
We need to actually put more money into those organizations, but at the same time, we need to continue to duplicate what they're doing in order to help with homelessness. When it comes to that, we don't need to shy away. We need help. We need funding to get some of these people off the street and somewhere to live that's adequate for them, to help their quality of life.
What measures will you take to ensure equal access to government services for all community members?
Well, first of all, equal access to government resources. Uh, Once we understand what's available to them, we need to make sure they're educated and to know that we're going to and understand that we're going to help them in any way that we can. And taking measures is to be transparent, be open, making sure that they understand exactly what is available, and getting those resources to them via, you know, um, telecommunication, social networking, just however we need to do it, make sure that they're taken care of as citizens.
How do you plan to ensure transparency in your decision making and in the allocation of resources?
Transparency, that's a good one because I'm always transparent. I mean, I when you see me, I am the way I am every time you see me. And I also, I believe in keeping an open door policy. Being one of the top salespeople person, I would say female, and have sold cars all over the United States in the last 15 years, um, you have to be truthful with people. They have to know that you're for them, and keeping a line of communication open for them. If you tell them that something that you're going to do it, follow up with it, and make sure that they understand that I'm working for you. You're not working for me. And it's okay, and just keeping a line of communication and follow through with what you're going to do. That's the main thing.
What steps will you take to ensure that you are held accountable to your constituents?
Again, being transparent, um, making sure that I'm answering every call, you know, every any questions that they have and concerns. making sure that not just talking to them over the phone. I'm a field person. I like to go out. I like to meet the constituents. I ask, what are your issues? What are your concerns? That's one of the things that I do when I first knock on your door. It's like, I'm going to ask you, is there any issues or concerns that you have? So I just being open, being truthful with them, and working hard for them, and doing the things that you say that you're going to do.
How will you handle conflicts of interest and ensure ethical conduct in your position?
Well, conflict of interest, we are going to have that in any position that we're in. It's how you handle that, and keeping a, a open mind, and just be faithful for what you're doing, and making sure that that you deliver what you say you're gonna do.
Why are you running for commissioner, and what motivates you to serve in this capacity?
I'm running for commissioner because I feel like God has molded me for this position. Um, I also know that in order to handle District 2, and I say handle District 2, is because it's a very vulnerable district out of all of them. And you have to be well rounded. And I know that with my education, my experience, my life journey, that I would be that person. I'm not just in a box on one side here or one side there. I'm very well rounded. I'm educated. I I'm compassionate. I have backbone. Do things I'm not afraid of, and that's hard work and people. That's what I've done all my life. I want to serve. I want to be the voice for the voiceless. I want to make sure that my children, your children, our next generation, I want to open the pathway for the next person that's coming behind me. You can't take care of District 2 in one term. You're going to have to make sure that whomever is elected, you got to make sure that you're working toward that goal to take care of District 2. We need a lot. People ask me all the time, what is your vision? It's very broad. I can't even explain to you what's going on because I am District 2. I was born on Linden Street and I was raised in McRae Homes. So I have a personal a reason why I want to take care of my district. I left home at an early age, ex-military wife, and I traveled all over around the U.S. And I came home 20 years later to see there hasn't been very many changes within my district, and it's sad. And then I'm very concerned about the safety. I'm very concerned about you waking up almost every day and you're finding that one of these kids they've hurt each other, or I have that motivates me to get out and do something that I never done before. But I think God has molded me into this position, and I'm looking forward to taking care of my community and serving.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Rinda, for coming in this morning, and good luck with your election.
Can I make one more comment?
Go right ahead.
I want to say to all the constituents of Dothan, all the residents, I would like to know this is a very important election. There's things that are happening um, within our country in general. We need to. I want to encourage you to go out and vote, and make sure when you do go out and vote that you're voting for that person that's going to go and stand up for you and take care of you, because right now it's very, you know it's a very vulnerable time for all of us, and we can't get any further in life if we don't participate in voting. We have to get out and vote, and make sure that we don't you don't need to vote for someone just because, oh, this is my friend, or we went to school together, or evaluate that person. that you're going to vote for. Make sure that person has that backbone to go in there. Like I said, I have backbone. I'm going to go in there and do my job. I'm gonna hit the floor running. But just make sure that you're choosing that person not just because, well, he's the best person in town that I know. Um, he's a public servant and that type of deal. Make sure it's that person who is for the people, and that's my slogan.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.